Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Moriarty here, and welcome back to Business in the Cloud. Now in this session, I'm very excited to be covering with you all about file management systems and cloud file management systems. We're going to be covering how to manage your data storage and work from anywhere. So we're going to be going through, how do you get work done if you want to travel? How do you get work done if you've got team in multiple locations? This is all super, super important stuff for small business owners. And if right now you're stuck in server land and you're remote desktoping into a server sitting in your office, or maybe you've got a VPN to try and get your files, or maybe you're using USB sticks or hard drives to transfer files all over the place. Well, this is the episode for you. I'm really excited to share this stuff with you. So let's get stuck into it. Now, what's the big problem? Well, the big problem here is that as a small business owner yourself, you need to get work done, but not just by yourself. You need to get work done with your team as well. Now, in today's age, we are changing. We want to have more flexibility. We want to have the ability to travel. We want to have the ability to connect with our team members. And our best, most productive place to get work done might not actually be in the office. It might be from home. It might be from a local cafe if you're lucky enough. Or maybe you just want a bit more freedom in your life. Maybe you want to do the kid run, picking up the kids from school, and then getting a couple of hours of work done in the afternoon away from the office. Maybe you've got multiple offices and a large team and you need people to either work from home or connect with other offices and get work done together. Now, the traditional way of doing IT is that you spend tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on servers and networks and infrastructure and expensive IT guys to make all of this happen. However, things have changed in the recent number of years with better connectivity to internet connections and awesome new apps which allow us to connect to our files wherever we're working. Now, some of these have first been introduced as consumer programs, like Dropbox is a super popular one for sharing files. Well, we're going to dig into what all the options are, what the consumer options are, what the business options are, whether or not your data is safe in the cloud, and how all of this works. So we're going to be covering these 4 things in our episode. First up, what is a cloud file management system? So, can I work offline? How does this thing work? How does it synchronize my files? Where do the files actually live? All of those questions we're going to answer for you. Next up, what are the 3 different types of cloud file management systems? So, there's different types, there's different technologies. I'm going to show you which ones there are, what the advantages and disadvantages are, help you choose which is the right one for you. Then, how to configure your group and organizational structure for your business. So, as your business scales, how do you get the folders and the files in the right place and shared with the right people for your business as well? Finally, we'll show you how to get access from all of your devices, how that works, why it's important, and how you can stay productive anywhere that you are. So let's get started. We'll jump straight into this session. So first up, let's start with, well, what is a cloud file management system? What exactly are these things? Now, you may have heard of synchronization and backup and connecting to stuff and the cloud, right? All kind of gets a little bit confusing. I want to show you a couple of pictures which illustrate how working with a cloud-based file management system works. So here on my machine, you can see pretty basic picture here, and this is using the example of Dropbox. And this is going to be kind of the recurring theme on how we go through the rest of this session. So you can see here that this little man on the left here has his little computer. Now, effectively, what a cloud file management system is a special kind of folder that lives on your computer. So all your files are stored in that folder on the actual machine. There are local copies on that individual computer, but that special folder is actually going to synchronize through the power of the internet and the power of the cloud to any other devices that you have the same account signed in as. So what that means is that if I open up a second machine and I sign in to my Dropbox or my Google Drive account, or maybe I even sign in from an app on my mobile device, I'm going to see and be able to access the same set of files anywhere I am. Now, there's also a third part to the puzzle as well. What about up here in the cloud? Well, I can head along to dropbox.com and access all of my files online as well. And so what that means is that right from within a web browser, I'm able to get all of my work done. So think of this as a magic folder that travels with you everywhere you go. It's kind of the same kind of format as maybe having a USB stick that you plug into your computer with all of your files, except with a USB key, you might lose it, you might break it, it might stop working, and well, there's no real backup of a USB key, is there? Whereas with an application like Dropbox or Google Drive or any other cloud storage management system, you're going to have your data in multiple locations. So if you happen to lose a device or one device happens to become disconnected, you've still got other places that you can access your data. So, well, what about working offline? How does that actually work? A bit of a misconception about cloud-based file management systems is that, well, I can't get any work done offline. Let me show you exactly what it looks like to work with a cloud file management system. So let's have a look here. I've got another diagram here, and obviously this is the perception of the cloud. We've got all our computers there, and they're just kind of dialing into this cloud thing. Now, our files are definitely stored online, and they're definitely accessible online, but I want to show you how a business-grade cloud file management system works. Now I'm going to sign in and use Google Drive as an example here. Google Drive is very, very similar to Dropbox. It's got some more kind of businessy features that put it far above Dropbox for business uses, especially if you're using other Google apps within the business, but they're roughly equivalent in terms of their basic feature set. So here we have my Google Drive, and this is online. We're operating out of a web browser. I happen to be using Google Chrome, and I've got access to all of my business folders, and within those folders, I've got all of my files. So you can see here, I've got some PDFs, I've got some spreadsheets there. If I needed to, I could also have Word, Excel documents, maybe even movie files, images, anything that I need to add into my Google Drive is going to be available online, and I can either view that document, view that file online, or I can even download it if I need to. So I'm going to go ahead and open a file here. I've got a screenshot sitting here. I've also got a PDF there. I can go ahead and open any of those, even a video file. That's going to automatically play for me straight within my browser. So you can see here that Google Drive allows me to view all of my files, but also work with my files as well. I can right-click on any of those and start editing them, either completely online within Google Drive, or I can download them to my machine and work with them as well. So, well, how does the kind of synchronization part work? Let's have a look at that. So, if I move along to my desktop here, you'll see that I have the Google Drive app installed on my menu bar. So this is the Google Drive app that I have here. And you can see it says sync complete, so everything has synchronized. And I've got quite a bit of data in there. I've got nearly 500 gigabytes of data sitting in my Google Drive account. Now, what that actually looks like on my desktop is you can see here that I have a Google Drive folder. I happen to be using a Mac, but this works on a PC as well. Right here in my Google Drive folder, I have each one of my folders. But hold on, I don't have all of them there. See, there's only a selection of folders here downloaded to my desktop. Well, that's because I can choose which of my online folders I'd like to have downloaded to my desktop. So I've only chosen a couple of those to have downloaded because I don't want to take up all of the space on this little laptop with all of the files for the whole business. Now that's one of the features of cloud-based file management systems. It's called selective synchronization. I can choose for some files to exist on the cloud only, or maybe on a PC that I've got sitting back at the office, which has got a bit more space. Maybe I'll synchronize just between those two, but I've chosen not to synchronize all of my company data down to this individual machine. And any cloud management system should give you that option to actually choose between how much data you'd like to have on each device. But 100% of the data is always safely secured on the cloud and available online. So you can see here that I've got my online folder with all of my stuff in Google Drive, and then I've got my desktop folder as well. Well, let's have a look at how we get those files to actually share with one another and synchronize. So on my desktop here, I've got a couple of files. I've got, here we go, I've got my diagrams. I took a selfie a little bit earlier. Some more stuff there, another screenshot. So I can just grab each one of these files and drop them straight into my Google Drive. And you'll notice here that these files are now synchronizing. So each one of these files is going to start uploading into my Google Drive. And I want you to imagine this a bit like a company drive for your business. So each one of your files that you need to work with within the business can be instantly uploaded and then available online and then shared with any of your other team members if you need them to. That one's still thinking about the little synchronization. Let's move along to our online drive. Now you can see here that these images have already been uploaded to my online drive. There's my selfie. We've got some of our diagrams already uploaded there as well. So anything that I put into my Google Drive on my desktop is automatically going to be synchronized and uploaded online. So I've got a copy of that anywhere I go. So that's the basics of how the synchronization works. Now, I want to cover something important with you, and that is, well, what's the difference between cloud sync and backup? Because, well, they kind of feel like the same thing, right? Is this backing up those files to the cloud, or is it just synchronizing those files? So I want to give you a bit of delineation between the two. Now, a synchronization tool is when we put one copy in one place, a copy is replicated in the second place. So I put a file in my Google Drive on my computer, and there's a file automatically created in Google's cloud in their data centers. Now, on any of my other machines, it's automatically going to synchronize that file down to that machine as well, as long as I've chosen to synchronize that folder down to that machine. However, when I delete a file from one device, it's going to synchronize that change as well, and it's going to delete the files across each one of my devices. And that's a little bit different to how we traditionally see backup. Now, something like Google Drive has a trash can, and so you can go and view any of your deleted files for a finite period of time just before they eventually then get deleted. But you've got to remember that if you delete something and then 3 or 6 months later you go to try and retrieve it, or you need access to that file and it's gone from the trash, well, you're not going to be able to get that back. So you've got to be mindful that these synchronization services are going to help you to work from different computers, but they're not technically a backup service. Now, what a backup service does and how the backup service differs is a backup service will allow you to put files into a service, delete those files, and then those files will still be retained in that service as well. Now, we've got another episode covering more in depth on backups, but I just wanted to make that quick delineation for you so you know the difference between backup and synchronization. Remember that synchronization is going to update any of your changes, whether it's adding a file, deleting a file, renaming a file, and it's not necessarily going to keep a catalog for more than about 30 to 60 days of each one of those files. But a backup allows you to delete a file and still be able to retrieve that file after it's been deleted. So what are the limitations with using cloud storage for our documents? You might have files sitting on a server, you might have files sitting on your computer at the moment, and you might be wondering, well, Pete, how can I get these all up online? How can I get these onto the cloud and available across all my devices so I can work from, well, wherever I need to? Well, the biggest limitation for most businesses is typically internet connections. Now, here where we are in Australia, we don't have the best internet connections right across the country. We've got small pockets where there's fiber optic connections, and they've got a really great speed, but for the most part, unfortunately, most Australians have pretty...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.